Got contacted from a fellow on Facebook who picked up a used Super VHS Panasonic VCR to digitize his tapes, only to find that it didn't work. So he asked me if I could have a look at it and see if it's something that I could correct for him. So I said, bring it on over, and we'll take a look and see what I can do. So we're going to open this one up today, see what needs to be done on it, and see if I can get it to work. This one should be an interesting one with a positive outcome. Let's check it out. Well, I can tell right away someone's been into this because the tape end sensor here is out of its cover that blocks exterior light and focuses the light coming through the tape. That should be inside here, but also what I've noticed on here is listen to what happens when I spin the drum. I can hear a rubbing sound. So this one might not be repairable, but we'll take it apart and give it a go and see whether I can make it play. Also, the concern on these is, well, it's got these stupid modules on them, and they give us trouble. So I'm not holding my breath on this one right now. Get the front panel off. Pull the chassis, check the mode switch, and the normal stuff that you got to check on these things. So I pull the chassis by popping out these screws. Oh, I love these machines. I got to take this bracket out to lift the chassis, and to do that I got to remove this board, which means I got to remove brackets for that board. I just love these machines. They're just my favorite machine. Anybody that says that the made in Japan machines were better, I haven't worked on one of these ones. Okay, this board should lift out. See these modules here, they have usually they have surface mounted caps on them, and you can't solder on these boards. These here are these are glass board, so you can't replace the parts on them. When the parts fail, the board itself is shot. But part of the fun is getting the alignment of the plugs. Although this was not as bad as some of them were worse than this, but these ones are always fun to put back together. This machine, 27 years old now, was made in like April '97. I'm sure when this was new, I was probably having thoughts of getting out of the business about the time this one was new. Well, I was having thoughts back then. Maybe not having serious thoughts, but that's the year my daughter was born, '97. But I could see the writing was starting to appear on the wall. Couldn't read it at this point. It was too far away to read, but I could. When this stuff started coming out, we started seeing stuff like this with like these, see? These modules with all these stupid surface mounted caps on them. You got to change it as an entire module. Well, the problem is once the module is no longer available, which of course it's no longer available now, and it hasn't been available since probably, I'm going to say 2003, you wouldn't be able to get the module, because Panasonic were usually pretty quick to discontinue parts. Okay, belt under here is okay. How's the capstan motor? This is bent, so I know someone's at least tried to get into this unit. This is the mode switch here. We'll pop the mode switch apart. Doesn't look too bad actually. These are optical sensors, and yes, they do go bad on these ones too. I wonder if I should pull the board out and just check them. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Well, I've got it apart. just to lift out the board if I can. I don't know if I can or not. I think I can. I think I can lift out this board without any issues. This little board down here that's got all these surface mounted caps on it, this is just the MTS stereo decoder. So if that one's shot, it doesn't matter because nobody's receiving off-air signals anymore for stereo TV. That's done. Take the power supply out, and this should lift. I'll pop this board out in front. This should lift out. I just want to inspect, since I'm in here, I want to inspect those connections. Don't forget about the board screw. Let's take a look at the connections here. They don't look too bad, actually. It looks like they may have been redone at one point. Those have been redone. These ones have not. Does that look bad? Those don't actually look bad, you know. Those over here by my thumb, wherever the heck that is. I'll redo them anyway. The other ones look like they were redone at some point. This one's been redone, you see. And I think this one here, that one's also been redone. So this has been serviced before, this machine, which we know because the mode switch has been cleaned, and also the tape end sensor was not in the correct position. Put the chassis back into the cabinet, we'll reassemble the mechanism, then I'll fire this thing up and just see what it does, if anything. And then I will have to get back to the person that brought it to me and give them the good or bad news. Okay, that is in place now. Always got a kick out of Panasonic with their red colored screws, because the two that go in the basket here are not the basket. They got to come out, but they're not red. Okay, I've got the unit together far enough that I can now power it up and see if it goes boom. Well, that part works. It spins the head drum. Let's try turning it on. I have a blue screen of death. So it plays. Well, I'm just going to try my color bar tape. Eject. That drum making a noise, well, it's when I lift up the corner of the machine. That part looks okay. When I pick up the corner, if I do this, let's see if it'll play a Super VHS tape. Be it I'm only playing it out the composite output right now, but I'm sure if the composite output works, the S-video out probably also works. It's playing. I'm getting the interference from the plasma, of course. Just bring my hand near and it really gets interference, as you'll see. Whoa. Damn plasmas, they cause so much interference. I know someone's going to tell me to get rid of the plasma and put another TV here, but I like this old plasma. Helps heat the garage in the winter. Well, there it is. I've got the top cover on it now because the cover is metal and it has a screw that goes into the power supply, which is grounded to the main board, which is grounded to the bottom chassis. It's got the metal plate on the bottom. So that shields it from the interference from the plasma. It's plugged in using the S-video connector, and the picture is great. This is a tape that was recorded on an S-video camera. It was recorded on a Panasonic PVS7670 at the Vancouver Aquarium. This is a dub because I did dub it so that I could add hi-fi music to it. So this is a dub from the original. The picture looks good. This is one of those instances where using an S-video cable will make a difference because the recording was made in Super VHS. A high 8 is the same. If you make a recording in high 8 on a high 8 camera, you will get a better transfer to any other source using the S-video connector. That's what it was designed for. Regular 8mm and VHS, you will not see any difference whatsoever. Zero. And the reason for that is because the horizontal bandwidth is not high enough on VHS, beta, or 8mm, and for that matter 3/4 inch. They do not have enough bandwidth that you can have crosstalk or color information being mixed with the luminance. But that looks, I mean, that looks really good for a Super VHS tape. I'm quite impressed. If you're not using the S-video signal, you're using composite, you can get crosstalk between the chroma and the luminance. If I unplug the S-video connector, for example, and just go through composite, you might see a difference. So let's just do that. Let's unplug it. And there it's unplugged. I'm getting a bit of interference on my cable. I think this cable is probably not the best. See if it's plugged in properly. I'm seeing a bit of plasma interference, but I think that's just getting into the crappy cable I'm using. I'm sure if I put this on the CRT, it's going to look just fine. So let's plug it into the CRT monitor. As you can see, the CRT monitor looks just fine. I've just got a bad cable. I'm picking up some interference. Maybe the ground is a bit bad, and the fact that it's sitting right next to the plasma screen, I'm picking up some interference. I'm not getting it on the S-video cable because I guess the S-video cable is in a little better shape. But on this recording, you should notice the difference between composite and S-video on a recording like this, because this was made directly from an SVHS camera. So the chroma and the luminance signal have never mixed. It's a separate video right from start to viewing it using the S-video connector. But again, it doesn't really make much difference to the picture quality itself. It's just crosstalk between the luminance and the chroma, and it only happens at a specific resolution where the luminance bandwidth crosses into the chroma subcarrier frequency of, in terms of NTSC, 3.579,545 megahertz. See, it doesn't clean up the video or anything. You can still see some noise down here. That's just VHS being noisy. So for people wondering, well, you have to have a super VHS machine in order to get the best quality possible when you're digitizing. It's not really true. It's all hype and a lot of misinformation by people that really don't know what they're talking about. And a lot of these people are bloggers, and even some of them were writers for magazines back in the days. And they really didn't know what they were talking about. The difference between an S video signal and a composite video signal, there is no difference in terms of quality unless the original tape, like this, was made on a Super VHS or a high 8 camera. And in that situation, and a DV camera, if you're using the analog out. So if you recorded something on a DV camera, I wouldn't say so much digital 8 because the sensors on the digital 8 cameras just weren't good enough to give you that kind of bandwidth. You see the color stripe filters on them anyway because they're terrible. But a good DV camera with a high resolution imager and a good Super VHS camera and a good high 8 camera over the S video connector would give you the best quality. And if you're digitizing from one of those sources, then yes, S video connector and S video cable into the capture device is going to provide you a little bit better quality under those situations where the chroma and the luminance can cause interference to each other. And it's basically high resolution sharp devices. Like, think the referee in a hockey game, his jersey. You get the cross-talk where you get the color stripes and someone wearing a shirt that's got checks on it, and the checks will bleed. Stripes will strobe, checks will bleed. And the S video connector will eliminate that, but only if the source was made on a SVHS or high 8 or mini DV camera. If it was made on a regular VHS recording, or if the copy you've got is a regular VHS recording or 8mm or Betamax or any of the other formats, the crosstalk is already there. So sending it separately from the VCR to your capture device will make absolutely no difference because it's already there on the source. And, well, in the case of VHS tape does not have the horizontal resolution to begin with, so you won't get crosstalk because there isn't any there. You can't get it. The frequencies won't interfere with each other. It only occurs when the luminance signal and the chroma mix while they're traveling down the cable. Down that single composite cable, the chroma is added to the luminance signal or the video signal. And on that cable and all the circuitry in between, that is where the crosstalk occurs between the high frequency luminance signal and the chroma. VHS does not have the resolution. It only has 240 lines of resolution, and the crosstalk typically occurs around 340 to 350 in that range, whereas Super VHS could record up to 400 lines of resolution, as with high 8, and mini DV could record up to 500 lines. So clearly there was enough bandwidth for the video signal traveling through that cable to cause that interference, and that's where it makes a difference. But everything else, nope, you don't need it. I'm just kind of watching this to see if it's going to continue to work, and everything's looking good on this, so I don't hear that noise anymore. Even when I pick up the corner of the machine, maybe it's because the case is muffling it, but there's not a heck of a lot I can do about that anyway. I was thinking for a minute I'd pull the drum apart, but you know what? This unit's working, it's tracking properly, and I think I'm going to leave well enough alone. Now, why it wasn't working before, why it was brought in, that I don't know. I was told it didn't work though, but again, on these ones, a lot of times the end sensors are used just for loading tapes and stuff. The signal, the light gets blocked by the mechanism itself when you insert a tape, so that may have been the problem all along. I guess we'll never know, because I didn't try it until I inspected it and saw that was out of place on the initial inspection. Anyway, I'm going to call this one a success and give the guy that brought this to me a call and let him know that his Super VHS machine is working, and he will be a happy camper. So we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.